explaining all those things to yourself. You can let me know in the comments what a function is, how is it defined, and how do you know that this is a function. So the first thing that we are going to do is to have a background knowledge and the information that you need to understand. Okay, so there are three ways in which functions are summarized. Number one, we can summarize functions using the equation notation, which is y is equals to something. So this is the equation notation that we can summarize functions with. Number two, we can use the mapping notation, whereby you say y is mapped to x, like that. So this is what we call the mapping notation. And then number three, we have what we call the f of x is equals to something. So this is the function notation. So this is the one that most of us are accustomed to. We really know what functional notation is. So you must be able to interpret the x's. For example, if someone says, what is the y-intercept? How do we get the y-intercept? We replace x with what? 0. That's how we get the y-intercept. And what is the x-intercept? We replace what? Y with what? With 0. For example, if they say, what is the y-intercept for an equation that is y is equals to 2x? So the y-intercept is going to be x will be replaced with what? 0. So y is equals to 2 times 0, which gives us what? 0. So when x is equals to 0, y is also going to be what? 0. So that's the y-intercept for this particular equation. If they say, what is the x-intercept for something like this? Y is equals to 2x, and then they want the x-intercept. So the x-intercept, it's going to be y is equals to 0. So you're going to say 0 is equals to 2x. Then you divide by 2, you divide by 2. So x is equals to 0. So if someone is saying y-intercept, x-intercept, maybe you don't even understand what is that interception in, what it is. So I'm going to give you a scenario. Here it is. So this is the y-axis. The graph that is going down, maybe you don't know, the graph that is going down is called the y-axis, and the graph that is going to this side, this is what we call the x-axis. So if they say the y-intercept, it means that x is 0 here. So you come to this point. So you're looking for the part where x is equals to what? 0. And then you look for the value. And then they say the x-intercept, which means the value of y is what? Is 0. So we are looking for something that is here on this part. On this part here. I'm going to use a different color to actually help you to see what we are talking about. So I used the blue one. So for the y-intercept and for the x-intercept, that's how you remember how to get those. So the other thing that you need to know is the axis of symmetry. So what is the axis of symmetry? The axis of symmetry is when we have a mirror image of whatever that is being given. Like for example, if the graph was being folded along that line of symmetry, it would duplicate itself on the other side of the line. What does it mean? Remember, we have what we call the line of symmetry, and then we also have what we call the axis of symmetry. So these two things are very, very different. You must never confuse the two. Sometimes a question would come and be like, what is the axis of symmetry? And then sometimes a question will come and be like, what is the line of symmetry? So you have to be able to interpret that graph in that particular aspect. Number three, you also need to know the asymptotes. Asymptote. What is an asymptote? So asymptotes are imaginary lines that the graph approaches, but it never touches it, or it never cuts that part. Okay, so what are we talking about? If we are saying we have an asymptote, if something is an asymptote, have you ever seen what do you call that, electrical wires, electrical fences? An electrical fence is something that you see but you never touch. So that is an example of an asymptote. An asymptote is a line that you will see but you will never touch, you will never cut, you will never cross. So an asymptote is something like this. This line is something that this graph would never touch, it will never cross, and it will never move across this line. So this is something that you must remember. Sometimes someone will be like, okay, an asymptote is a bank balance of 1 million rands. Maybe you will never reach it, you will never touch it, you will never cross to that side. So that's what we call an asymptote. Right. Number 3, we need to know the domain and the range. So when you're talking about the domain, we're talking about the range of x values that are possible that will make the function be defined. Like for example, f of x is equals to 2x squared plus 4x plus 5. So for the domain of this graph, we are looking for x values. So always remember that the domain is associated with x values, right? And then the range is associated with y values. So the domain and the range, we are looking into the fact that we are going to define our graph. We are going to define our graph, and it's going to be what? Real in those particular aspects or in those particular concepts. And then we must be able to sketch a graph. You must be able to determine the domain and the range of each function, and also be able to determine the axis of symmetry, the asymptotes, and anything that has to do the axis, the asymptotes, the axis of symmetry, and the line of symmetry, wherever that information is needed. So the 4 types of graphs that we are going to look at, we are going to look at the straight line. Number 1, it's the straight line. Number 2, it's going to be the hyperbola. Number 3, we're going to look at the parabola. And number 4, we're going to look at the exponential graphs. Right. Exponential graphs. So looking into this whole 4 graphs, this is something that is very easy to do, but I'm just going to pick up the most important things and I will highlight them so that you understand. So if you have any questions, let me know or leave a comment and I'll get back to you. If you need a tutor or any tutoring services, do call us. We are available from primary up until tertiary. We actually help students to actually get their grades right, get their marks right in every aspect of your life, in your studies of course. So yeah, make sure you contact us. Bye.